Hi everyone, it's Jennifer Darrell, La Profesora Inspiradora. Today I'm going to talk about how I like to use task cards, specifically vocabulary task cards, in my Spanish classes to help my students practice their circumlocution skills. So when we're going to be beginning a new thematic unit, let's say an environmental unit, I like to make up a set of task cards for them, looking something like this. And these cards have all sorts of different vocabulary terms on them related to the environment. Now, I like to put 9 words on every card. It makes it a lot easier to keep track of 9 cards versus 81 of them. 4 words on a card. You could just put a single word on every card. It depends on how you want to use them in your own classroom. Now, here's the next tip. I purposely choose words that I do not think my students are going to understand. Concepts that are a little bit complex, words that go beyond your typical vocabulary lists. Why? Well, the whole purpose of emphasizing circumlocution in class is to stress to my students that they can still speak about a topic even if they don't know all the words. So if I tell them that, but then I give them a set of cards with words that I think are fairly straightforward and basic, I'm kind of working against myself and reinforcing the message that they need to know these specific words. Whereas if I give them words like the greenhouse effect or firewood or tidal wave that I don't think they're going to know, I am reinforcing the message that it's okay to not know every word, and what we're here to do is learn strategies to speak about those concepts. Now there's a lot of different ways I might use these in my classes. At the beginning of a unit, I might be the one to take the card and use circumlocution to try to get my students to guess what concept I'm talking about. So, for example, I might look at this card, I might see the word inundar, and I might stand in front of my students and say, es un desastre cuando el agua cubre la tierra. And then my students can guess. Now, I let them guess in English because the whole point is that they probably don't know these words in Spanish. But the point is that we can still talk around the ideas anyways. It can be helpful to them if I do this first because then I'm modeling some good circumlocution strategies that they can then imitate when it's their turn to take the stage. Another way I use these is to play a rousing game of taboo, which is probably my students' absolute favorite activity that we do in class. I like to break them into 3 teams, and I'll call a student from the first team forward and give them 2 minutes, and they get a card and they can get their classmates to guess as many words on that card as they can in 2 minutes. The person who is up front doing the speaking can only speak in Spanish, but the students who are guessing, again, are allowed to guess in English because, again, they probably don't know these words in particular. After those 2 minutes, I record how many points the first team got. We pass the same card on to the second team, who gets their 2 minutes, and then we pass the same card on to the third team. And the reason I like to make the first card go to all 3 teams, even if that doesn't seem fair because the second and third teams won't have as many choices, is because it gives everybody an incentive to listen while the other teams are going. Because team 2 and team 3, if they can recognize some of the clues that team 1 is giving, if that team doesn't end up guessing it, team 2 and team 3 can use that to their advantage. So it's a great way to incentivize everybody paying full attention throughout the entire game. Now, after all 3 teams have gone, if there are still words left on the card, I might do a lightning round where I try to get everybody to guess those remaining terms. Of course, the people who have been up and have seen the card don't get to guess. If you play this game and do it this way, it's usually a good idea to have, if in round 1, team 1 starts, then in round 2 you want team 2 to start, and in round 3 you want team 3 to start. That way, nobody ends up disadvantaged because if we always started with team 1, they'd always have 9 words to choose from, whereas teams 2 and 3 would have fewer. So if you just rotate which team goes first each round, it can keep the game fair. You can also just keep these cards on hand, and if you have some fast finishers, they don't have to sit there wondering what to do next. Hand them a set of cards and they can practice using circumlocution to guess back and forth. This is one that my students always beg me to bring with me. They love playing it. I never get so much engagement as when we're playing this game. I think it brings out their competitive nature. And the great thing about it is they have fun doing it in this activity, And what that means is that when it then comes time to just have normal conversation, when it's not part of a game, when it's not part of a creative class activity, they've practiced the strategies that they'll need to talk around difficult concepts. And that way, when they come up against a word that they don't know, they no longer feel like they're stuck or that they can't say it, right? They say, oh, wait, I know how to do this. Let me think about how I would get my classmates to guess this if we were playing Taboo again. I would say it this way, and now that they have the strategy, they're not stuck anymore, and they feel more confident speaking. So these are great. I like to make them for every unit we do. And they're pretty easy to make. I recommend that you laminate your cards because that way you can use them semester after semester after semester. Also, if you laminate them, then when you're playing the game as a whole class, you can actually write right on the cards with dry erase marker to keep track of which terms have been guessed and which ones are still available, and then just erase it at the end of class. So laminators are fantastic. Yeah, so that is my favorite way to get my students to practice circumlocution. If, like I said, the cards are really easy to make, but I also have several available for sale on my TPT store. So if you're interested in this activity but don't have the time or just don't feel like putting in the effort to make a set of cards, I have them on the environment, on health, on hobbies and pastimes, travel and vacations, food, clothing, household. And if there's a set that you're interested in that I don't have yet, I'd be happy to make one for you. Just let me know. But again, you can also do this for yourself, and it's super easy, super fun, and I think all of your students are really going to love it because it's just a fantastic activity that really helps improve their confidence in Spanish and gets everybody having a great time in class. So I hope you enjoyed, and tomorrow I'm going to show you another one of my favorite activities that practices circumlocution, although a little bit less directly. So I look forward to seeing everybody there.